Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Bismillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. I'd like to welcome all the viewers on a session on approaching the Quranic sciences with the author himself, Mufti Muhammad Taqi Usmani, Hafidahullah. The author himself really needs no introduction, but for a detailed biography of the author, please refer to the description below the video, inshallah. So we will move on, inshallah, swiftly. We just recently came back from a trip from Sofia and Sicily, alhamdulillah. Lands that once flourished under Islamic civilization. Having walked through these historical places, what reflections would you share about these former Muslim territories and the lessons we can draw from their rich Islamic heritage? Very briefly, inshallah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulihil Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. In fact, I had always a desire to visit those countries that were sometime ruled by Muslims and their civilization flourished thereupon. And for this objective, I traveled a lot of countries like Spain and the Eastern Asia, where the Islamic scholars were outstanding, and also I visited many places in Russia, in China, where the Muslims lived, and they have a beautiful history of their Islamic learning. So I visited all these places, but in this visit, alhamdulillah, Allah wa ta'ala gave me tawfiq to visit Sicily, which once was the center of Islamic rule, and the Muslims ruled it about 300 years, and the one who has conquered Sicily was one of the most knowledgeable pupil of Imam Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Shaybani and Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala. So therefore, I was fond to reach these places just to imagine how they lived there and their works they have done. Maybe there are some remnants of their civilization, of their scholarship. So therefore I went there in Sicily and then to Bulgaria. In all these places I learned a lesson. The lesson is what the poet Iqbal has said. Shamshir o Sina awwal, Taus or Rabab akhir. The history of Muslims is that in the beginning they are very liberal people, and they fought jihad, and they had in sword in their one hand and the Quran on the other. So in that case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them victory in all the countries they have invaded for the sake of Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was giving them tawfiq, and they were very successful in all their activities, and therefore they fought against Caesar and Tsar, all the superpowers of that time, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them victory. But once they were involved in Taus or Rabab, in the Taus or Rabab in Persian and Urdu, means some musical elements. So when they were involved in a life that was luxurious life, and for the luxurious life they forgot the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, rose His hand from them, and therefore the enemies were prevalent on them, and they did not afford to fight them, and their countries were conquered by other non-Muslims. This is the lesson that we learned from all these countries where the Muslim civilization was flourishing. All of a sudden, they fell into the hands of non-Muslims. So the basic reasons, two basic reasons. One is to forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's teachings and to follow the Holy Quran and Sunnah. And the second, to have dissension between the Muslims on either on ethnic basis or on some religious schools basis. So this dissension, coupled with their luxurious style of life, was the basic reason for being conquered and being defeated.
Okay. Yesterday you mentioned in the talk we had at Regent's Park Mosque that we should set aside our differences, especially on issues regarding fiqh, whether you follow Hanafi, Shafi, Maliki, Hanbali, and unite for the greater cause.
Yes.
Which I found very profound, and I think that is a very important message for us to, I think, when we're going forward,
of course,
that the Muslims are world over suffering, unfortunately.
Of course.
And sometimes we engage ourselves in futile matters, which really doesn't really matter as such.
Yes.
So, Jazakallah khair for that.
We make issues, non-issues as issues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our basic issue is to propagate the basics of Islam, which are targeted by many.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we should be united against this invasion.
Yeah.
Ideological invasion.
It's true. Jazakallah khair. Now coming to the subject matter as such on approaching the Quranic sciences, I understand that approaching the Quranic sciences originated from a directive by your esteemed father, Mufti Muhammad Shafi, rahimahullah ta'ala, who was the Mufti Azam of Pakistan. Could you share the background of how he guided you towards writing this introduction to Ulum al-Quran and how his vision influenced its development?
In fact, my honorable father, Hazrat Maulana Mufti Muhammad Shafi, rahimahullah ta'ala, at the end of his life, he devoted himself to write the commentary of the Holy Quran in the name of Ma'arif al-Quran. And he was so busy in writing this book that always when I found that he is writing and writing, even on bed, when he was on bed, and he was advised by the doctors to remain on bed, and they were, they were saying that you should not leave your bed. Even in that situation, he used to write and write. So, among this effort that he was undertaking for writing this tafsir of Ma'arif al-Quran, once he said to me, first of all, he said to me that I don't know whether I will be able to complete this tafsir or not, because he was very ill. So he, first of all, he ordered me that if I did not complete it, so I make a wasiyah to you that you should complete it. So this was an honor for me that he ordered me to the level. but I prayed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He Himself completed. Alhamdulillah, He completed.
Alhamdulillah.
And after, before completion, he said to me that now I want that there should be a short introduction to this tafsir, to explain the basic term of the Holy Quran and also some punctuations in the Holy Quran. Sometimes it is written Ta, Jim, Za, etc. So I want firstly to introduce to the common people these terms and a short account of how the Holy Quran was written and published. So, in order to fulfill his desire, I started writing. But once I started, I found that there are many issues that should be thoroughly discussed, because Ma'rifat al-Quran was a very scholarly work.
Sure.
And a short introduction for the Ma'rifat al-Quran was not enough in my eyes. So therefore I, passed the limits prescribed by my father, Rahimahullah Ta'ala. So I entered into some study of some issues that was very relevant, and sometimes they rose some questions in the minds of the people who do not know the exact situation. Likewise, I found that there are many allegations or many doubts created by some Orientalists who worked on the Holy Quran. So therefore, I did not restrict myself to a short introduction. I discussed in detail the basic issues that may be, of benefit to the ulama and the scholars also. So therefore, I started writing and Alhamdulillah, my father, when he found that I am going this way, he did not stop me. He said, yes, you go on and complete your work. So Alhamdulillah, I completed it in his lifetime. Alhamdulillah. But then he said that it was too lengthy to become an introduction to the Tafsir al-Quran.
Yes, that was the question I was going to come to.
Therefore, he said you should summarize some points to be included in the tafsir.
Okay.
Then I summarized them, and they were made part of Ma'rifat al-Quran. But this book was in itself a study of the Holy Quranic, the Quranic sciences. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. I mean, it's done very well, mashallah, and many people are benefiting from it, alhamdulillah. And it's taught in various institutions, even in Zaytuna in the US, Hamza Yusuf Institute. Many people are benefiting from it, and barakallahu feek for giving us permission to redo it, alhamdulillah, and updating it with some modern notes.
In this exercise, I came across some questions that, agitated my mind, and therefore I have to go very deep in their study. And I was not satisfied with these issues, but I tried my best. For example, the issue of qira'at, sab'atu ahruf, 7 ahruf of the Holy Quran. It was very difficult subject, and it was very, basis of some argumentation both from Orientalists and also from some modernists, and also from the viewpoint of the classical scholars. So I woke day and night and studied the book. Then I did not satisfy myself unless I show it to some person who is more or most knowledgeable in this field. Fortunately, Alhamdulillah, Hazrat Maulana Qari Fatah Muhammad Rahmatullah Alayh was alive, and he was in our branch of Darul Uloom in Nanakwara. So he was the most knowledgeable person in the matter of Qira'at. He was the one who was leading Taraweeh prayer in our Darul Uloom every day, and he completed the recitation of the Holy Quran in Taraweeh in 3 days. And every 3 days, after every 3 days, he used to recite another Qira'ah.
Wow.
It means that he, completed 10 Qira'at in Ramadan.
Inshallah.
He starts after the people have completed their Taraweeh. They started Taraweeh of himself, and used to recite around 9 to 10 paras of the parts of the Holy Quran every night.
Inshallah.
And then he was so much, I did not see any person like him in the strength of his memory.
Okay.
He was like a miracle of Quran, of the Holy Quran. So I found that I should not publish anything about Qiraat unless I present it to Hazrat Qari Fatah Muhammad Sahab. So once I went to him and asked him that I have written this treatise on the Qiraat, I will not publish it unless you ratify it. So he said that yes, I will come to you in Darul Uloom, because he was in branch of Nanakwara. We were living in Kurangi. So he said, I will come to you, to your Kurangi, and will pass a night with you. And you will, he was blind.
Oh, he couldn't see?
Yeah, couldn't see. So he said, you will read the book before me, and then I'll comment on it. I cannot comment unless I listen to it. So he came, passed the night with us, and I read the treatise from the beginning to the end to him, and he, Alhamdulillah, he certified that it is true.
It's amazing that he had no vision, and yet he was so...
Yes, of course. He was a miracle.
MashaAllah.
He himself was a miracle.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
You have written extensively across various Islamic sciences, including Hadith, Fiqh, and Islamic finance. How has your deep engagement with tafsir shaped your understanding and approach to these other fields of Islamic scholarship?
In fact, I am originally my subject of my interest was the fiqh. And that is because I felt that fiqh is the cream of the Holy Quran and Sunnah of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Therefore, fiqh was my basic, the subject of my basic interest. But I always found that our basic book revealed by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala should be the most valuable thing, and the should be basic objective of our attention. Alhamdulillah, I translated the Holy Quran, firstly in English and then in Urdu. But I found that I have not yet reached the very spirit or essence of the meanings of the Quran.
Okay.
And I found that we need a tafsir for the common people that may convey the message, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kalam is such that no one can even translate it in a true sense, and it has guidance in each and every expression he has used in the Holy Quran. So I was thinking that I am not able to approach the basic concepts of the Holy Quran unless I study it more deeply and more closely. For that purpose, I started to give a dars of Quran, a lecture on Quran Kareem, and recorded it. During this effort, Alhamdulillah, some aspects of the Holy Quran were opened to me by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Still I am in search of a tafsir that can more deal with the deeper meanings of the Holy Quran, deeper instructions of the Holy Quran. A man cannot be perfect in explaining the Holy Quran, but one can try his best to reach the original message, and that is what I am engaged to do, and seek Allah's guidance that He may guide me and give the true lessons derived from the Holy Quran, from each and every word of the Holy Quran. So I am trying this, but it is an effort, a very humble effort. While there were big mufassirin who have passed their lives in studying the Holy Quran, one cannot reach even the beginning of their thought. But at least for the common people, I am trying, Alhamdulillah, to explain the meanings and the messages conveyed by the words of the Holy Quran in my tafsir.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, it is going on, and I have reached to Surah. I have just concluded Surah Yunus, and inshallah we'll start Surah Hud after I go back, inshallah. And Surah An'am or Maida, Maida or An'am up to An'am or Maida, 5 volumes have been published,
Alhamdulillah. And we've translated 2 so far. Alhamdulillah, with your blessings.
MashaAllah.
Pray that we can accomplish it as well in our lifetime, inshallah. Hazrat, in examining the works of Orientalists like Montgomery Watt, yes, we often find attempts to undermine traditional Islamic scholarship. How do you view their agenda in Quranic studies? Should Muslim scholars engage such works that seem to carry colonial and imperialist undertones, or should we develop our discourse independently?
I think after studying these works, I am of the impression that they did not do justice to study of Holy Quran.
Okay.
I cannot comment on their intentions, but because intention is always in the heart of the person, I cannot comment on that. But it seems that their basic purpose was to create doubts in the Holy Quran, in the preservation of the holy text, etc., and also to create doubts in the traditions of ahadith relating to the Holy Quran. And this is very clear when one studies their work. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
For example, there is a tradition that Sayyidina Usman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in his days there was a battle of Yamama, in which the tradition says that the basic Qurra were martyred in that battle. Therefore, Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu was advised that many people who learned the Quran by heart, they were Qurra, they were martyred. If they are going this way to the other world, then it is a great fear. There is a great fear that the Holy Quran will be forgotten. Therefore, Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu ordered Zayd ibn Thabit radiallahu ta'ala anhu that he may write the script of the Holy Quran. While commenting on this tradition, one of these scholars, I do not remember the exact name, he says that I have tried to find out whether how many Qurra were martyred in the Battle of Yamama. None of them was Qari. Therefore, this tradition is not reliable. None of them was Qari. He has commented like that. Then I mentioned that who were martyred, in which was in this very battle was martyred was Zayd ibn Khattab, the brother of Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab, and Salim Mawla Abi Hudayfa radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was turned by the Holy Quran, by Rasulullah that he, khuz al-Quran min Salim Mawla Abi Hudayfa. He was very knowledgeable about the Quran, and he used to learn it by heart. So there were many people, and still he says that there was no one who was Qari. So it seems that they have deliberately did this. Wallahu alam. To create some doubts about the authenticity of the Holy Quran, and maybe a reaction from the Muslims if they are, for example, Christians. I don't know. We are Christians or Jews or whatever. So their basic books have no chain of narrators, no authenticity, no credibility. So they perhaps they were fond of creating doubts about the authenticity of the Holy Quran. So therefore, one cannot, one should not, a common man should not go to read their books. Alhamdulillah, the books of our ulama are enough to explain everything about the Holy Quran. Alhamdulillah.
So do you think our ulama should engage with them, especially modern day Orientalists?
Engage with them if, I think their objections, as far as I have studied, are so futile that engaging with them in this exercise will only grow the price of the value of their books.
Just don't give them any attention.
Yes.
Inshallah.
But if a person, as a study, he studies them, and then he may remove the doubts created by them. The one who has a deeper study of the Holy Quran is Noldeke, who was a German scholar, and he was the person who was the pioneer of the Orientalist in the subject of the Holy Quran. But when I wrote this book, I could not find his English translation.
Okay.
But they always cite him. They always referred to him. So it seems that he was the basic person who has some studies about the Holy Quran.
And they're relying on him.
Yeah.
But there are also other Orientalists who are very, let's say, they have a soft spot for Islam, like A.J. Arbery, his translation of the Quran.
Yes, of course.
Some even say that maybe
Arbery, I guess that he accepted Islam.
I was just coming to that.
Yeah, because he, in the introduction of his translation, he has in many words said that during my translation of this book, I was in a great, hardship, but it is the light of this book or something, I don't remember the exact word, but he said, during this translation, I came out of that hardship.
Inshallah.
This was the essence of what he said in his introduction to his translation.
Inshallah.
So I very
conclude from that.
I am very, I expect that he has accepted Islam.
Yeah, I think Professor Abdurrahman Doi, rahimahullah, who was a student of Arbery, has made a similar statement as well. Yeah.
MashaAllah.
I did ask Dr. Mustafa Al-Azmi, rahimahullah, because he also studied with him at Cambridge, but he wasn't sure. But from the students of Professor Abdurrahman Doi, Professor Abdurrahman Doi, rahimahullah, was convinced that he was a Muslim.
Yes.
He may have kept it silent.
And his translation is the best translation.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Any better any other Western translation.
Okay, alhamdulillah. So now we move on to your English translation, Hazrat. Your English translation of the Holy Quran has reached millions of readers worldwide, alhamdulillah. And we had the honor of redoing it here in the UK, with your permission. Could you walk us through your translation, the methodology, perhaps using some examples to illustrate how you navigate the challenges of conveying the divine meaning in English?
In fact, it was a very difficult work that I have done. In the beginning, I formed a committee to translate the Holy Quran collectively. It consisted of, in the beginning, Professor Hassan Askari and also my bigger brother Maulana Bali Razi and some other people. We sat together and discussed how to translate it. Our basic purpose was to remain very close to the Holy Quran firstly, and then to use the words for a common man, because the existing translations were more in biblical style. So the modern young people could not fully understand it. So we were thinking that there should be a translation which is very simple and also conveying the exact meaning of the Holy Quran, which was sometimes, in other translation, particularly in the translations by the Westerners, there were some mistakes while conveying the exact meaning of the words of the Holy Quran. So, therefore, we formed a committee. In the beginning, we translated collectively 7 parts of the Holy Quran only. Then we could not continue with that meeting. Then I undertook the job myself. And I also reviewed the 7 parts
again.
And started translating. It was very difficult to convey the spiritual meanings of the Holy Quran, because English is the language that explains matters quite elaborately, but the spiritual matters are very foreign to English language. So it was very difficult to convey the spiritual concepts into the English. However, alhamdulillah, we tried our best. I had all the translations before me, alhamdulillah, all the major translations before me while translating this book, and then I sometimes benefited from other translations, but ultimately it was my own.
Alhamdulillah.
And sometimes I passed days to find out a correct word for the word used by the Holy Quran. I give you an example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ الْمُحْصِنَاتِ الْغَافِلَاتِ. Those who try to يَرْمُونَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ try to insult the Mu'min, chaste women, and ghafilat. Ghafilat means ignorant. In generally it was translated as ignorant. Ghafil means a person who is not aware of something. So,
yes, correct.
So mostly it is translated as ignorant.
Ignorant, yeah.
Okay? And the mu'minat, the mu'min women, chaste mu'min, and ignorant women. So I thought that this word is not correct. The correct is to not convey the message, convey the exact meaning of the ghafilat here, because it has been treated as a matter of admire, not as a matter of humiliating woman. But if you say ignorant woman, it is humiliating, not praising her. Then I thought. Then I came with the word, the naive. Naive women.
Inshallah.
So, in this way, at every stage, I was, engaged with it was very difficult to face such situations. Again, alhamdulillah, subhanallah, ta'ala, give me tawfiq and done it. All this is with tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Man cannot do anything without the tawfiq of Allah.
Did your translation, that you also helped with the translation of Ma'arif al-Quran, your father's, rahimahullah's magnificent tafsir, which is studied to this day, alhamdulillah. Did that help in any way in translating the Quran as well?
Yes, of course, it helped me. It helped me, but I also revised it because it is originally translated by some other people.
Okay.
I used to revise them so that I may find whether this conveys the exact message of Al Quran or not. So, alhamdulillah, I revised it in about 2-3 years.
Oh, okay. Continuously working on it.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Did the tafsir...
during my journey.
Okay. Yes, we know that, mashallah, you are always not letting any time go by. Alhamdulillah. Did the tafsir of Maulana Sharif Ali At-Thanwi rahmahullah, Bayan al-Quran, aid in any way as well in trying to find the correct meaning of a word?
Of course, yes.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. So this is the new translation of the Quran that Turath Publishing have been blessed and honored to redo with the permission of our dear beloved Shaykh Mufti Taqi Usmani, Hafidhahullah. So Jazakallahu khair for that, Shaykh. And before I conclude, just a few things. One is, to be honest, I'm not really worthy to be sitting here interviewing you. And as you know, I always like to take a back seat and always have scholars in the front. But unfortunately, they've all been busy and left me to be here with you. So please forgive me for my shortcomings. Please share.
Thank you very much, Alhamdulillah, for your questions. And I am, grateful to you that you through Turath Publications have done a lot to the people. Although your basic profession was that you were a trader, but Alhamdulillah, you had the honor of having interest in the knowledge, in the Islamic knowledge, and through which you have, Alhamdulillah, were able to publish many Islamic books, and also brought some books into existence here in this part of the world, and also you have translated many good works of from Arabic or from Urdu and made them available to the general reader here. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your efforts.
Amen.
And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide you.
Amen.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the best reward for all your efforts.
Amen. Ya Rabbal Alamin.
Ameen summa ameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallahu khair.